Well, ladies, you got everything all lined up. You ready for this evening?
Sure.
He's he's
Got
ready.
a great guest, and we got a great book, and we're gonna review that, and it's really pretty exciting. This is a little different one than we usually do, so I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to hearing the author. It's always good to hear the author. But
Yes.
we're lined up. I think Ruth, you're going first with the weekend review, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yep.
coming right after you, and then Victoria, you will do your weekend review, and then go into Mark's bio, and I think that's what we. Yep, I think that's what we got. We already lined
Good.
up next week too, aren't we?
Yep.
Ruth,
Oh, we're good for like the next month.
oh, really? Okay.
Yes,
Oh, I
we
need to
are.
go back and look at my calendar. And
Mhm. We got some good books coming up.
Yes. Yes.
good, 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 good. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the lovely lady we have coming in next week.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be fun to
I'm
have.
just excited about the books. Just that we still can have a conversation about all the books on my bookshelf.
have you have you been talking to Alan like offline? Is Alan is Alan rubbing off? Okay, okay. I just
Oh, you know what? We didn't get today. We're gonna get Alan's joke of the
We
week.
didn't get the joke. Shh.
no, we didn't. And you know what? It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. But you know what, Alan? We're about ready to get started.
Before we go down that line, that path.
Before we go down that road. So if you are ready for us, we are ready for you, sir.
All right, I will take care of that. And I've got a big special joke for you next week.
Oh, we can hardly wait.
So you can just go ahead
Bated
and just
breath.
keep wondering and waiting and waiting and anticipating all week long. All right, here we go, everybody.
All
Thank you,
right,
Alan.
thanks, Alan. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Authors Up. You have tuned into our program right here on ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network. And I am here with my two wonderful co-hosts. This is just a great trio. If I
Yeah, yes, it is.
do say
I-
so
We think
yeah,
so.
we're
We
not
think so
biased.
too.
We agree.
Oh, not at all.
Mm-mm.
How you doing this evening, Ruth? You good?
I am good. How are you?
I am well. I am well. No need to complain. And how about you, Queen Victoria
The
over there?
queen is fine.
You good?
I'm good. Good. Ready for this book tonight. Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. We've got Linda has come in. Good evening to you, Linda Cooks. Glad to have you in
Hey,
the
Linda.
house. And whoever else is out there, sometimes people get shy about making their comments, but if you're out there, go ahead and share. This is going to be a delightful evening. And like I said, it's a little different from what we have had in the past. And we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, different is good too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. 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 Hey, Paula Obi. Dr. Paula is on the line. Good evening to you. Glad to have you in the house. And let's go on and get started with our weekend review. Ruth, I think you're up first tonight.
Yep. Yep. So I, been sharing um that my daughter is in boot camp. Uh she's about to graduate in 12 days. So
Wow.
yeah,
Believe it.
I mean, even I got the opportunity to talk to her today. She had an hour and a half. So,
Oh,
um,
wonderful.
Good.
yeah, I almost re-injured my foot running to get the phone to make sure I got
Oh,
to talk to her. So, um, I did try. So yeah, no, I shouldn't do that, but I will get to see her in a couple weeks for graduation. She's got to get through
Good.
this week first. She's got to go through what she calls Forge Week, where she spends 4 days in the wilderness testing out everything that she's been learning so far. So
Can they just do it in 4 days in the
no,
wilderness?
4 days. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing all about that. And you guys know Samantha, so you know that she's built for it. Um, but it'll be still be interesting to hear it because that's 4 days without. For me personally, that's 4 days without a bath. That's ugh. In
4 days
100-degree
no air
weather.
conditioner.
No. So yeah, but yeah, I'll be excited. Hopefully I'll be able to share more about it next week, if not definitely by the following week, which will
Yeah.
be post graduation, and we'll get a chance to see her for a few hours
So
before
you're
she
going to
heads
Tulsa. You're going to Tulsa.
to
It's Oklahoma. It's
Oklahoma.
not Tulsa.
No, it is Oklahoma. It's
Okay.
Fort Sill is all
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I don't know where that's at.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my week. I'm
Right?
excited.
I can't even imagine.
Oh,
And,
and Samantha's so petite. She's so tiny, but she's just
yeah,
like this
she's strong. I mean,
But I saw
force.
her pull
So
those weights that time, and then she just
yeah.
dropped it down like it was a piece of tissue.
Yep.
She's got this. She's got
Yep.
this.
she's strong, but
Yeah.
4 days
Um,
wilderness, they're just so that's just wrong on so many levels. I can't even I
I would
can't even
imagine
put
it's
it
the
all into
mental
words.
fortitude more
oh,
than the
sure.
physical, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's all they've been doing. I mean, they get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to start the physical. So it's not, I don't think it's as much physical as it is, hey, let's apply everything we've learned. It should be cakewalk at this point. But,
Yeah,
if they can last through that,
they got it.
there's no
Wow.
telling. They got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
They'd have sent me home after the first week. So
Would you have made it for the first week? I don't know if I could have.
Mm-mm. I wouldn't have signed up. So
I like to think that I would have signed up. Yeah, I can do this. Mm-mm.
I would know from the beginning. This is
Good for her.
not something I would want to do. No, no, no,
Mhm.
no. Mm-mm.
No.
But
Yeah.
my hat's off to her. We're
Oh
all
yeah. No.
very,
Absolutely.
very proud of her
Right.
and what
Right.
she's doing, what she's accomplishing. I think that's amazing.
Oh,
Amazing.
absolutely.
My hat's
Absolutely.
off to her.
Yep.
Whew.
So,
Well,
how
what
was your
about
week?
you?
After that, I'm just exhausted. I'm
What's
tired thinking about it.
the thought?
Well, my week was a busy, busy week. I got new programs coming in, new
Oh,
shows
that's
coming
right.
aboard, and been working on that. And Dr. Alan Chaffins has started an internet broadcasting university, so I've been working on actually putting together a class for them.
Oh,
So,
Awesome.
and,
Awesome.
yep, I've
Good for
been,
you.
yeah, look at me.
Yeah.
But I got some things I need to finish up. Uh, I don't think I'm starting this Wednesday. I think it will be next Wednesday when I will do the first class. I have to make sure that I have a test ready for the conclusion of the class, and just
mm-hmm.
want to get everything lined up so that it is something that will be engaging and informative, and really help people to get started on the right foot, and to be able to at least grow their show and do all kinds of great and wonderful things. So I have been busy doing that. God has been busy doing some amazing, amazing things. So just in a good place, in a good space, and just feeling good, feeling
All
good.
right. All
Yeah.
right.
So how about you, Victoria? What's been going on with you?
Well, as everyone knows, I'll be doing starting my show in August, and so this week I was doing some more thinking and planning in my head about what I wanted my show, to look like, and just spending some more time with God, to be honest,
Mhm.
because this is a transitional time for me
Mm.
on a lot of different fronts, and I've been feeling. I don't know. I won't say heavy. I don't want to say heavy and say that it's been a bad thing, but it's the heaviness of all that God is doing in my life. And
Mhm.
I'm feeling the changes and I'm feeling the rearranging he's doing. And
Mhm.
so I've just been compelled just to spend more time in his presence. And, because I want my desire is for the show to be impactful and be inspirational. And while the content is there, I just always want to make sure that I'm doing what God wants me to do and
Mhm.
say what he wants me to say. So I'm very conscious of that. And so as the time is coming closer, it's going to be in the second and fourth Mondays of each month. And I've been, saying my taglines more victory 2-4. So I'm getting really excited. I'm really excited about that. So I have someone's working with me on the opening and the closing for me and stuff. So it's just like, yay!
Exciting.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, oh, so that's me. Just spending more time in God's presence, so that I know that I am walking the path He wants me to. And so that's just about it. Work has been crazy this past week, going through some transitions at work as well. So, like I said, on a lot of fronts, it's a lot of changes, and so I got to make sure I'm taking care of myself physically and mentally, and spiritually.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's it.
Good, good, good.
All right. Well, that brings us to the excitement of the evening, which is the book that we're going to be talking about, which is called The Oasis King, The Oasis Chronicles by our author, Mark David Pullen. So let me tell you a little bit about him. Mark is the author of middle grade series, The Oasis Chronicles. His debut novel, The Oasis King, was released this year, and his second book is headed to print within this year. That is exciting. Being the boy who sought after adventure and escape, he would use his imagination to create strange characters and unique, faraway worlds. Some of these strange characters in faraway lands cemented themselves into his mind and later became part of the firm foundation for his writing style. He currently lives in upstate New York with his wife, two children, and who he describes as his crazy pup, Toby. Mark is a proud member of the ACF organization, which we found out stands for the American Christian Fiction Writers Organization, which we'll ask about later. So, after a short break, we'll be back and let's talk with Mark a little bit about his book.
Hi, Mark. Welcome.
Hey, welcome.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. Andrea stepped away for just a quick second, but she'll join us in a minute. So we'll
Sure.
just go ahead and get started then. I have to say, while I was reading your book, and I will probably be dating myself here, but I got a lot of Land of the Lost vibes, which I totally loved. Um, I enjoyed it. I normally don't read young adult fiction, but I really enjoyed your book, and I want you to tell us about it.
Sure. So it's it's a labor of love, but we can get into that.
Yeah.
Three young boys on vacation at their grandmother's farm, seeking adventure, doing what boys do, get magically swept away to the Valley of the Oasis, where monsters and danger lurk around every corner. And while they're there, they encounter a lone hunter and his dogs who are trapped in conflict with the malevolent stranger. a strange green-skinned being from another time and place.
Okay. That sounds like adventure, definitely. Um, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, I sat down to write this book for a Christmas gift for my son for his second Christmas.
Oh.
And he and my nephews are the main characters in the book.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest, I got bored reading him stories at night. There was nothing engaging for me, you know? So I wanted to write a book that for children, but a book that would be enjoyed equally as much by the adults, something that would make a great read aloud. A lot of my chapters end on cliffhangers, so if the kid says one more chapter, the adult says, "Yeah, okay, we'll see. One more chapter. Why not?"
We'll finish it tomorrow. We'll finish it.
Yeah. No, and that's good because I can tell you that I do agree with that. And then when the kids want you to keep reading over the ones that are just not interested, it's not fun. So, but you created this fun story that it is a series. So
Yes.
you have how many books are you planning?
Well, there's 5 right now, but it's going to be probably an expanded series of about 11 books.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. So, how do you plot out the adventures? I mean, 11 books, some authors, they may struggle with that first book. How do you plot out 11?
Well, fortunately for me is I've always been a daydreamer,
Uh-huh.
and I have always had jobs where I've been able to go on autopilot, if you will. So there's parts of my day where I get in the zone and my body just does what my body knows how to do and allows my brain to check out. I think we all have those quiet moments during the day where we're doing what we do, but we're somewhere else. We're gone, or we could be on vacation 1,000 miles away, but we're there at our desk working or there at our station working. And because of that, some of the characters, like you just read in my bio, some of the characters and some of the environments have cemented themselves in my memory.
Mhm.
And I make little notes here and there, and they just sort of snowball. When I sit down to write, I'm very blessed that a lot of it just comes naturally.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
Awesome.
great. That's great.
So, have you aspired to be a writer, or was it just something that happened?
I had no idea. I was going to be an author. Like I said, I wrote this book 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And up until then, I was really searching for something. Like my wife will tell you, in the 12 years we've been together, she's always encouraged me to seek my calling. And I was like, yeah, I work for a living. I don't have time for a calling. Like I have to pay the bills. Like, I graduated high school and I went right into the workforce. That was my thing. I sat down and I wrote this book for my son. I sat down the week of Thanksgiving and it was done the week of Christmas. I sat down and once I started to write, I didn't even have a laptop. I wrote it on my iPhone with a Bluetooth keyboard. What? And yeah. And I got done. And when it was done, it was 25 pages in a loose leaf binder. But I looked at her and I'm like, there's something here.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed doing this, and this might be something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, fast forward a few months I think it was for Father's Day or maybe an anniversary gift. We're mid-COVID now. She sent me to the Colorado Christian Writers Conference via Zoom because I'm in upstate New York and we're mid-COVID. And with that came when I signed up, she scheduled me 3 appointments with 2 agents and an editor. And the editor liked it. It was 25 pages in a loose leaf binder, and he got the first page. That was all he got. He got the first page of my work, and he was like, I like this. He's like, I'd like to see the rest. And so I sent him the other 24 pages, and he really liked that. And so his response was, this is good stuff. He's like, but it's got to be longer. He's like, this needs a lot of work. And so I took that as a nice pat on the back, like, hey, good try, kid. Come back when you got a little more. And so life goes on. I go back to work. Things are happening. I got a new job in there at some point. And once more, the week of Thanksgiving, my phone rings and it's this gentleman. And he calls and he says, how's the writing going? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm working on it here and there. He says, well, you understand that I have people waiting for this. And I kind of took, Yeah, I choked for a minute and I said, I'm sorry, what? He said, we have people waiting for this. He said, my company, my publishing company, he said, we publish 2 of these books a year and we would like one of them to be yours.
Wow.
Where are you? And I said, I'm working really hard on it.
Really fast now.
Right. And so now I've just essentially, been reprimanded pretty much. I've been called out. And so I hit the keyboard hard. By this point, I did have a laptop. So I start working hard. And that was the hardest part, was a story that I considered done, that I wanted to be published, was now trying to find 130 more pages.
Yeah.
So trying to fill it with not just words, but good content was very difficult. But I did it surely by the grace of God and with his help alone. Fast forward a month to the week of Christmas and I got a contract.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so here we are 5 years later, and I'm still working full time, but this is what I was put on this earth to do. And I can honestly tell you that after 31 years at the time, like I found it just because I wanted to sit down and write a book that I would enjoy as much as the kids did.
Mm-hmm. And your kids,
the story behind the story.
Absolutely.
So, and your kids do enjoy it.
They do, very much much so.
Okay, so let me ask this question. I wasn't gonna I hadn't thought about this, but I know with my own writing journey, I hesitated in the beginning because, even as a Christian, I thought, well, I got to write clean books. I have to write books that include, references to God and all of this other stuff if I call myself a Christian. But that's not necessarily what I write. I write romances. I write, things that maybe don't reflect a Christian image. So how do you reconcile being a Christian author, but also writing about green-skinned monsters and things like that?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I sprinkled a lot of my biblical knowledge, as much as I could, into this story. I wrote it for kids. I did not have a market in mind. I didn't have Christian market. I didn't have secular market. I just wanted to write. And so I sat down and I wrote this in a way that it was sprinkled in there that the Christian children or the believers would read it and say, hey, I get that. But also in a way that children that may not necessarily believers would understand it and say, there's something else to this. And they might then begin to ask questions. And I was very enlightened because this past spring, I went to the Blue Ridge Writers Conference. And one of the keynotes said that as Christian writers, it's not necessarily our job to introduce the reader to Christ. It's our job to take them on the journey and leave them there and trust that God will meet them where they are.
Amen. Amen.
And so that really spoke directly to my heart, because that was my goal when I sat down to write, because I wrote for kids. My target audience is, and this is a very broad net, but you know what, kids that might be hurting, kids that might need an escape. So I wanted to provide a good, clean adventure story that might just allow kids a brief moment of respite, whether it's from the pains of growing up or struggles at home, whatever it is, that they might be able to sit down and read this confidently and say, okay, just take a minute, let the world fade off, and let's just take a minute and go on an adventure.
So then the key is just to write what's in your heart.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. So I'm going to hand you over to Andrea, and she's going to continue this.
Sure.
Stop listening. We always talk about the fact that nobody can talk about their book any better than the author can. And one of the things that I enjoy most about this program and the way we do it is, as Victoria said, finding out the story behind the story.
Yes.
And I think it's funny that you would say, I didn't have time for my calling because I had to go to work.
Right.
But when you yield to what your calling is,
come on,
Simply doing that, God just fills in the blanks, and he does it in such an amazing way. And we've been talking about that over the last few weeks. And here is another example
Yes.
that you didn't set out to write or have 5 books. You set out to do something cool for your kid.
Absolutely.
And God took that, put it before the right people, and gave you more, so that you would meet whatever that criteria was. And now you're talking about having 11 books in a series, from somebody who said, I don't have time for that calling stuff. Gotta go out here and do snowplow and do other things. So I commend you on that, and I love that. I love that. And somehow when you put it in his hands, it's like you're saying, the words just come.
Mhm.
They just flow. They're just there. There's so much that I like about the book, and one of the things that I like is I call it the rite of passage book, because most kids get to a point where they want a chapter book. They don't
Yes.
they don't want the pictures and everything anymore. They want a chapter book. So this fulfills all of those, and I really enjoy that. I want to go back to this series, so for just a minute, make sure I've got it. Okay, we've got the Oasis King. You
Mhm.
said you have written another one already. It's ready for release, and I heard the number 5 in there. So help
Yes.
straighten out what we've got.
Well, so here's the deal. So book number 2 is in the final edits. It's getting ready, so it'll be probably hopefully end of this year, beginning of next year, sometime for that. But the first, the 5 initial Oasis King books are about written.
Oh,
So
wow.
Oh, wow.
they're all just about done.
Okay.
And then books, this is the funny part. Books 6 through 9 are good solid chapters on pages. They're well on their way. And then the joke I like to make is that books not 10 and 11 is where I'll hit a little bit of a snag, because I'll have to start books from scratch. But that's it though. It's like once I sat down and did this, the stories just started to come, and the words just started to come. And it really, the best way I can describe it is it just snowballed. It was boom, boom, boom. Like the ideas didn't stop. I had dreams. I had to keep a notebook next to my bed because I'd have dreams about stuff. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and have to write something down because, God was blessing me with stuff all the time.
All the time. All the time. Now, do you have release dates in mind, because I know you said that you did one around Thanksgiving, and you did one around Christmas, and I heard Father's Day in there. So do you have anything scheduled to say, I want to release 2 a year, want to release one around Father's Day and one around Christmas, or you're just going with the flow of when I finish, out they go?
I'm kind of going with the flow, but well, that's the main goal, is to go with the flow. I really had to pull back the reins and say, like, all right, let's launch one and see how it does before we worry about pumping out another. I'm still very new to the industry. People still don't know who I am. So why would they care about book 2 if they haven't even read book 1 yet, or even heard about book number 1? So that was my thing, was that, like, okay, these are almost done, so I can pump them right out. But it's like, let's wait and see what they do first.
Yeah.
But there are many people, and we've talked about some of those authors where the first one didn't catch on, but they released the second one, and sometimes the third, and then people swing back. They'll get that third one and think, well, what else has the guy got out there?
Yeah.
But they'll go back. So follow his leading, and I know that you'll be in the right place with the right people, releasing it exactly when you need to release it, and we're going to be waiting for them.
Amen.
Well, I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yes, I think that is just wonderful. Let me see if I want to, before I check the time. Oh, it's 7:30 already. How can it be?
Right.
I'm not going to hold you then, because I know that Victoria has some things that she wants to talk to you about. And we have a very important phrase that she is going to release.
Yes, I am.
And I don't want to take away from that. So, Victoria, go ahead.
I want to tell our listeners and our readers to get the book. Get the book. That's my line. Get the book.
Get the
I'm
book.
gonna tell you, Ruth said she dated herself. I dated myself too. Get the book. You had me in at the second sentence of the first chapter. I like space stuff, and I like science fiction stuff, and I like all the stuff that you got in this book.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely love it. And you did such a delightful interviewee tonight. I mean, this listening to your story behind the story, it's just amazing. I have not stopped smiling. But what I have taken away so far is the power of the yes. The power of the yes. When we say yes to what God has for us, the possibilities are endless. The possibilities are beyond our wildest imagination. How has the book been received so far? That's my first question.
The book has been very well received. I have no complaints. I mean, I do a lot of in-person things. I do, the book is launched, so we're seeing good numbers there. But
Good.
I've been recognized at the grocery store from a woman I didn't recognize. I'm sorry to admit that, but she approached me as I'm loading groceries in the back of my car. She goes, "Did you write the book? You're the guy, right?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am. I wrote a book. I don't know if I'm the guy, but I wrote it." And she's like, "I can't wait for the second one." She's like, "And it was she remembered the story. She's like, "It was your nephews and your son, right?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, absolutely." And she said, "Well, you have a good day." And off she went. But
how amazing is that?
It's an interesting feeling because here I am, like, it's been out a month or two by now, and I'm like, wow, I just got recognized at the grocery store.
You're right. Well, I like little Jack, I like little Trip, and I like Dylan. They are very interesting little characters.
Thank you very much.
It's thirst for adventure is something. But what I liked about the book was I like how you put in there very subtly the power of a praying grandmother. I loved it. Grammy, I like Grammy. She's all right. First of all, she has I won't say too much, but she has the boys come on the summers. That's a grandmother who cares about her grandchildren, and she makes sure they're praying, and she's up fixing them the breakfast. And I'm like, go ahead, Grammy. Everybody needs a Grammy.
Yes, absolutely.
And I had one. So I'm telling you, you said the book is for middle schools, whatever, But I identify with that, and I think I want to tell our listeners and our viewers, you will identify yourself in this book, and I can't wait to get the second one. I can't wait to get all 11 and have them on my shelf like the Nancy Drew books.
Oh, stop! Now you're really dating yourself.
Yes, I am. All the Nancy Drew mysteries. But I just think it's amazing. It is amazing. Which of the characters do you feel like you identify with the most, or is there a character that you identify with?
No, there's not really a character I identify with the most. I wanted to be true to all the characters. There's, Grammy's listening, so I'm sure she just loved the compliment. But I tried to be as true as I could to everybody. My nephews and my son. My son, like I said, he was 2 at the time, so I had no idea what he'd be like. But I was like, I think he'll be like this. And so that's how I wrote it. I tried to be as true to them as I could, but there's not really any one particular character I identify with.
Okay.
So will you be in any of the subsequent books?
Probably not.
Well, you should, because you have a voice for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure of that, but I'm boring. I know me.
Oh.
You can't possibly be boring.
No, and I'm sure your wife would not agree with that. And I'm sure she is so proud of you, because I'm proud of you, and I'm not even, a family member. I'm so proud.
We're a family now, right? We're family now.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want to break in just real quick, Victoria, because I wanted to mention the fact that your wife is a gem. I sometimes, we have great ideas and there we have great ideas and things that we want to do and things that we think will be okay. And we just need a little push,
Mhm.
just a little push. And the fact that she, um, you know, signed you up, for the conference and then took that extra step and made sure that you had those appointments. Boy, I tell you what, that's my girl. I,
Oh,
Okay, that's what I'm talking. Yes.
I am in
absolutely.
her corner 1,000%, because that is exactly what you needed. That's what sometimes we have to go beyond that thing that just says you can do it. I know you can do it, and just take that little bit of extra initiative. And look what happened. I mean,
Yeah.
doors that were open. And I know that the folks in we had Virgin Islands pop in and pop up, and if they didn't know about Mark before, they know about Mark Pullen now. So
Exactly.
we're glad that we got the opportunity to share you with another part of the world. So thank you for that. Thank you
I
so
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
absolutely. Mrs. Victoria, I interrupted you. I'm sorry,
That's
but
fine. That's fine. I thought you were just gonna go into it, which is fine. Of course, my next question is, where can our listeners and viewers find your book, and then how can they get in touch with you if they have any questions or just want to reach out to you?
Sure. My book is available online, Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, pretty much everywhere books are sold. And to get a hold of me, you can visit my website, theoasisking.com. And I have a little reach out section. Find the page and you can reach out, and it comes directly to me.
All right. And I also like the fact that you give in the book available for people to get a free copy of the ebook if they would like it. I love
Yes.
it. We like free. We like free. Thank you.
So-
I really enjoyed it. And I thank you so much for being here with us tonight. It's just amazing. That's
Victoria,
all I have. That's all I
Well,
have.
you were going to ask about the ACFW.
Oh yeah. But you can go ahead. You can go ahead now, Rue. It's okay.
No, you had the specific question. I was just reminding you. That's what I'm here
That's
for.
right. We wanted to hear about. Could you explain what the American Christian Fiction Organization is, and how did you happen to join that?
Well, again, I joined. My wife found it. Thank you. Thanks, hon. But it's support for authors. They offer community and the ability to ask other authors questions, conferences annually, and things like that. It's really a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Nice.
And can you explain to us just very briefly about what exactly is speculative fiction? And when I saw that term, I thought,
Yes.
I'm not familiar with this. What is that?
I'm very new to it as well as of this spring. From what I gather, it's just a very broad net because there's so many different genres and subgenres of science fiction and fantasy these days. It's
Okay.
just a way to cast a net and say, I write one of these.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know it, but there's a market for vampire cowboys from Mars. Like there's that, right? There's just so many different things these days that it's just, I believe it's just a broad net to cast to say, hey, I write science fiction and fantasy without having to say I write about vampire cowboys from Mars.
Gotcha.
Or whatever that genre is,
Speculative.
Stay in the woods, Mark. We don't want you. We don't want you to our cowboys. This has been absolutely amazing. And I really, when I said in the beginning, guys, that this was going to be a very special author with a special story and special book, I had no idea of the things that Mark would be sharing with us tonight. Mark, do you have any final words of maybe encouragement to new authors, new writers, or just anyone? What would you like to leave us with tonight?
Absolutely. As I said before, my job can get to the point, I can get to a point in my job where I can check out pretty much. I can space out. My body knows what to do. My brain keeps, does what it does. And I would encourage people to seek those quiet moments when you have that opportunity, when you get down to it and you're allowed to check out, I would encourage you to spend a second with God, because when you seek those quiet moments, he can really speak to your heart, and he can encourage you, and he can lead you to places that you'd never dreamed to walk by yourself until you're shown. So I think it's very important that we take that time to just walk with him and allow him to encourage us and reveal things to us. I find that in those quiet moments, things are revealed. And if you're just quiet and you're still, you'll hear him audibly.
Amen.
Awesome.
Amen.
Awesome. Awesome. And keep that pen and keep that paper handy. Whatever.
That's it.
Your notes on, keep it handy. Because one thing that I have learned also, Mark, when he's on a roll, he doesn't slow down.
That's
Amen.
it.
We don't
Absolutely.
say, can you wait just a minute? Get something. I'm gonna write that down,
Absolutely.
Keep it handy. Keep it handy. Oh, that is it for us. Mark, we thank you so much
Thank you.
for being with us and for having the courage to go forward and complete this book. I think that the fact that it's going to be a series is just amazing, and we're going to look forward to every part of it, every story that's going to be in there. So thank you so much. Victoria, Ruth, either of you have any final comments for the evening?
Mark, I just want to say thank you again. We have truly enjoyed having you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Of course. And if any of our viewers or listeners would like to reach out to us, if you're interested in being on our show, please email us at authorsup@gmail.com. Follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just look up Authors Up Show. That's it.
Okay, everybody's got their marching orders.
All right.
Get the book. Get the book.
The most important order.
Yes.
Get
Yes.
the book. Get the book. You will be glad that you did. You got little ones. You got nieces, nephews. I've gotten into the habit now. I have two goddaughters, twin goddaughters. As a matter of fact, they're 8 years old. And anytime I get a book for them, I am having it autographed by the author. So that their name becomes a part of, what it is they're reading. So look for that, Mark. That request will be coming to you.
Okay.
And that is it for us for the evening, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We thank the Virgin Islands. We thank Detroit, I think it was, that popped in on tonight. And I know there were some other countries that joined us and some other states as well. So we love you guys. We thank you for being with us. We're going to be back here next week. You don't want to miss next week. I actually know who's going to be on the show next week, and I'm not sharing. So you still have to come back. Join us next week. It is absolutely our favorite place to be on Sunday evenings, and we hope you will make it your favorite place as well. So we'll be back here next week at 7 p.m. here on Authors Up for another great author and another great book to share with you. Make it an absolutely amazing week, everybody, and we will see you here next week. Mark, you hang in there. We will be right back.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Katarina. Katarina's the wife. Katarina's the wife. Good night. Good night, Bronze Girls.
Good night.